Hey, Christy from KBShimmer here. I'm going to show you how to do a super simple galaxy nail. They're really popular nowadays and I'm seeing them all over the place. So this is my version using KBShimmer polishes. You can see in the screen right now the finished version. I'm going to work pretty close so you can see what I'm doing. It's pretty simple. You just start out with a plain black nail, and I've kind of got each step done a little bit ahead of time so I can move pretty quickly through this with you. I'm going to start with our new winter 2013 polish called Maybe Navy. All I'm going to do is on the nail, I'm going to start out with actually a pretty dry brush. I am going to make like an S, kind of dab like in an S pattern around the nail. And it doesn't really matter if you like a different pattern, but what I'm trying to do is not use up the whole, or cover up the whole black. So if you can kind of see it there, I've got just kind of like a S pattern done with the Maybe Navy. There's that. Here's, we'll work on one that's already dry. Let me see if I can kind of get that to show a little bit better for you. So here's kind of reflecting in the light. You can kind of see that S pattern. So I'll put it back down. And now I want to do some pink accents, as you can see on the nail on the right. I'm going to use KBShimmer It's Razzical. Again, I'm going to use a pretty wiped off brush. I don't really want, you know, huge splotches on here. And I'm also going to have a makeup sponge kind of right here, because I'm going to dab it a little bit to make sure there's not too much on there. So here, just kind of at the top of that S pattern, I'm just going to put a little blob, and down here on the tip a little blob. You can just do a little dot here or there if you want. The cool thing is, whatever you do, it's not going to be wrong. It's just going to be a different looking galaxy. So what I'm going to kind of do then is go back and just kind of dab it a little bit. You can use like a paintbrush if you want. You know, anything that can kind of spread it out a little bit. So you kind of have little blobs left. That's that. The next thing that we're going to want to do is add a little bit of like our Milky Way looking type stuff. So what I have here is Lottie Dottie, and I am going to just have a little bit on the end of my brush, and I'm okay if I have some of like the circle glitters in here. I'm really kind of just looking for the milky white, but I figure if any circle glitters get out, or just kind of get a planet or two in there. So what I'm just going to do is just kind of on the end, maybe a little bit over here, you know, just a little bit to kind of break up some of the color. And, you know, you're just doing a little bit of white. And if you feel it's too much white, you can go back in with the sponge and kind of sponge it a little bit. So here's kind of that white. The next thing that we do, or the last thing I should say before top coat, is adding all of our stars. Now this is kind of a personal preference. If you want a really starry galaxy, or if you just want a little bit of shine and stars there, I kind of want in between. So I'm going to do a pretty good wipe on my brush so I don't have a ton of liquid on there. Here, I'll kind of focus on the brush so you can see how much I have on there. So not too much. This is KBShimmer Ice Queen. It's a holographic top coat, and here I'm just going to kind of wipe it on. Just paint it on. So I've got some stars, and this kind of unifies the whole nail. Kind of just brings it all together. And I cap that, and I will focus in on that for you. So you can kind of see that you have the, you know, kind of the blues and the pinks in there, a little bit of the milkiness, and it's all kind of brought together by the Ice Queen. The last thing I'm going to want to do is put a top coat on there just to seal it all up and you know, give it that smooth, shiny finish. Here's one that I had completed earlier. So I'm just going to put our KBShimmer clearly on top. Just a thin coat of that, and that just brings it all together. So pretty simple. Just, you know, 1, 2, 3, I guess 4, 5, 6 or so, but you know, just starting with the black, then you're just building your, you know, far off galaxies. You can use Lilac Dreams if you have that. It's a little bit lighter than the Maybe Navy, but it also will have that kind of purple shifty effect. You can see the difference between these two is the amount of Ice Queen we have on there and how you know, many stars it is. So it's really up to you kind of what look that you're going for. But thought that was a pretty easy and doable nail art using KBShimmer products.